Xbox's head of gaming for everyone and sustainability, Katy Wright, has indicated that the company is going to commit to the financial suicide plan that Marvel Studios has embraced over the last half decade. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. This is over at thatparkplace.com. And Xbox's head of gaming for everyone and sustainability, Katy Wright, spoke with games industry about the company's product Gaming for Everyone product inclusion framework that was internally launched in 2019 and is now being made public. The framework was created by Wright's Gaming for Everyone team that was created in 2015. Specifically, Wright detailed the purpose of the entire framework. At the end of the lengthy interview, she said, "If you don't intentionally include, you will unintentionally exclude. That is how we are as human beings. There is no shame in that. If you want to include, you have to be intentional about that." So clearly embracing the whole diversity, inclusion, equity agenda, using some kind of bizarre logic saying that is what humans are in nature. What's interesting is we have BlackRock CEO Larry Fink made similar comments back in 2017 during a New York Times Deal Book interview or summit. And he said this: you have to force behaviors. So he's saying the whole DEI stuff is not what people naturally do, which is what Mary Jo Wright is now, or Katy Jo Wright, excuse me, is saying. He says, and if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the corporation or the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not just recruiting, it is development, as Ken said. When asked how he plans to force the change, this is what Fig said: it has to be imbued in the culture of a firm. It has to be talked about. It has to be shown. Behaviors across the entire firm and entire region have to be similar. And every citizen of the firm has to understand what is acceptable behaviors and what are unacceptable behaviors. So clearly, Microsoft and Katy Wright are implementing this through this Gaming for Everyone product inclusion framework. So you're probably wondering, what is the Gaming for Everyone product inclusion framework? Well, let's take a look at it right here. This is Xbox and Microsoft's website for their product inclusion framework. You can see it says that it is organized by 4 inclusive growth doorways to create focus and maximize impact. The 4 doorways are approachability, representation, globalization, and accessibility. And then it also has Gaming for Everyone's 10 product inclusion actions: design for safety and trust, create entryways for new users, help customers feel seen, co-create with communities, design for the global customer, engage local markets. That seems kind of contradictory there, right? The global customer and then local markets. Like, what are you even talking about there? It doesn't really make sense. And then make products accessible by design from day one, share inclusive features in product and marketing, leverage inclusive listening systems, and then create custom and personalized experiences. So obviously, if we click on this representation doorway, this is what you get. It says here that it is to create a product experience where customers feel they belong. What this means, we create product experiences with respectful expression. And respectful expression shows up in multiple facets of our work, including creators, ensuring we partner with and support a diverse community of content creators. So it sounds like they are actively trying to discriminate on who they choose to work with there. Content, ensuring our content tells stories that resonate with our diverse player base in-game and in our marketing. Players, ensuring our players feel seen and connected to meaningful experiences. We bring to life people and cultures within our products from many diverse perspectives, recognizing that there is not a single portrayal of a person that could represent an entire community or culture. And then it has a bunch of questions that it asks about representation. What steps have you taken to ensure characters are represented respectfully and authentically? Are you telling new stories or sharing new perspectives within the product experience? How have you validated assumptions you have made about your audience to check for blind spots or unintended stereotypes? Would you feel proud to show a member of a community how their culture character is depicted within your experience? I mean, this is all sensitivity reading. This is all DEI stuff. I mean, we see this. This is what Sweet Baby Inc. does. And Microsoft is now confirming that this is part of their business as well. We know that they work with Sweet Baby Inc. Compulsion Games, if you recall, which is an Xbox game studio. It's owned by Microsoft. They were the ones that echoed the disgusting warning message that Crystal Dynamics put in the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster, and was advocating for basically calling the developers of Core, who created those original games, describing them as bigots. I mean, absolutely sick, disgusting stuff. And now we see that it is rooted in Microsoft here. I mean, look at this. How are the wide range of customers depicted within your products and communications? What? Why would you be depicting customers within the games? No, you're supposed to be creating a game. What are these people even doing? Do all your characters' player depictions look the same? I don't know if I know a game where all the character player depictions look the same. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Seems just an utterly stupid question to even ask. What process have you used to validate how different groups of people or cultures are represented in your experience? Who cares? Who cares what those people feel? You are creating a game, and you shouldn't care how those people feel. It's ridiculous. Do you have a process to review key decisions with the lens of respectful expression? So obviously, this is all trying to basically self-censor video games. And this is exactly what they're trying to do at Xbox now. This is literally at Xbox, and they're trying to spread this to other developers. They said this has been at their company since 2019, and after half a decade, they are now making it public. This stuff doesn't work. This stuff doesn't work. We just went over the Larry Fink stuff, and Fink is a perfect example, right? Fink reported in January 2023 that BlackRock lost $4 billion due to its embrace of environmental, social, and governance (ESG) investing in the United States. In fact, by June 2023, Fink said he was going to stop using the term ESG. He says, "I don't use the word ESG anymore because it's been entirely weaponized by the far left and weaponized by the far right." So he's not even using the term anymore. He was the one who was weaponizing. We just listened to him, what he said in 2017. He's got forced behaviors. He was the one weaponizing it. This is also the path, as I mentioned at the beginning, the path that Marvel Studios took, right? We heard this from Victoria Alonso, former Marvel Studios executive who no longer works at the company. She said this in 2021 while promoting the then upcoming What If animated show at the Annecy International Film Festival. I think it's in France. During a Women in Animation panel. This was reported by Deadline. This is she was asked this, or she said she was asked this, or she gets asked this quite often. Aren't you tired every time your movie comes it's number one in the world? After claiming she finds that question odd, she then said, "The reason we have that success consistently is because our audience is global. You cannot have a global audience and not somehow start to represent it. For us, it was really, really, really important to have that." That's absolutely a fallacy. Just look at how the Marvel Cinematic Universe built up. It was not representing people from different areas of the globe whatsoever. It was adapting Marvel comics and putting them onto the big screen, and doing so pretty faithfully in the very beginning. And it became an absolute juggernaut. It had no intention of trying to go like, oh, we got to do this character here from China because we want to represent our audience in China. Oh, we got to do our characters here in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We got to make them Mexicans because we got to represent people in Mexico. They weren't doing any of that. That was not there. I mean, look, they made Idris Elba a Norse god in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They weren't about representation back then. It wasn't about trying to make like Chinese people be represented in Thor, right? That wasn't what they were doing. It wasn't about depicting Spanish people in Iron Man. They weren't doing that. So she's obviously completely lying here. Nevertheless, she goes on and says, for the longest of time, We heard a woman-led film will never open. I say, please check Captain Marvel. I say, please check Captain Marvel. Made a lot of money. Then they always told us that Black Panther was never going to open and that nobody wanted a completely black cast, and that made 1.3 billion. So you can look at it from the social point of view, the cultural point of view, but truthfully, this is a business. From a fiscal point of view, you're leaving money on the table by not representing. I think 51% of our audience is female, 28% of our audience is Hispanic. If we don't represent the people that watch what we make, eventually they'll go elsewhere because somebody else will figure it out. That's absolutely ridiculous. The reason why those people are watching because they enjoy the stories. They feel some kind. They like the stories. Maybe they do connect to some of the characters, but it has nothing to do with the way the characters look for the most part. That's just an utter fallacy, and you can see that. Like, how many main female characters did they have in the beginning parts of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I mean, you did have some significant ones, right? They were usually love interests. You had Pepper Potts. Obviously, you had Black Widow would arrive on Iron Man 2. You had Betty Ross in The Incredible Hulk. But for the most part, they were supporting characters. They were romantic interests. Not to say they didn't also have other dimensions to them, but for the most part, they were romantic interests. And wonder why 51% of women were watching that. You want to know why probably a lot of people there's a reason why they released Deadpool on Valentine's Day, because it was at the end of the day, it was a romantic comedy with a superhero. I don't want to say veneer or facade, because obviously it was a superhero film, but that film had a lot of romantic comedy elements to it. And they played it up. Alonso went on and said, we can only tell stories if we succeed and actually have money to make them. So the idea being, if it makes money, why not make it? To me, it seemed like a very simple equation, but it took a lot of time, a lot of talking. And now it's cost them a lot of money, because what have we seen since 2021? Box office bomb after box office bomb. Significant shrinking of the box office hauls for Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Their budgets are way over bloated, and they're just not making the money that they did. We saw that just this past year, 2023, the Marvels did not even make $200 million at the box office. And the last report that we see is that the film cost at least $267 million production budget. And that didn't even include the stuff that they did in 2023, all the reshoots and stuff. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania also lost money. I think it didn't even make $500 million. I think it was like 400 something. And then the third film, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it barely achieved profitability, but it performed worse than both the original Guardians of the Galaxy film in 2014 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So significant decline there with the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. So they lost a lot of money. But it looks like Xbox wants to follow in the wake of Marvel Studios. They want to lose a bunch of money too. They haven't learned any of the lessons. They launched this garbage just at the same time Marvel Studios did, 2019. Captain Marvel, 2019. Avengers Endgame, that absolutely ridiculous female triangle formation that they did. What makes this even crazier is that Xbox is losing money already, or takes a loss on all of their consoles. This was revealed by Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer in an interview with the Wall Street Journal back in 2022. He said that the company was selling its Xbox XS consoles at a loss of up to $200 per sale in the hope that it could recover the losses through Game Pass subscriptions and digital sales through the Xbox store. This is what he said. Consoles are actually sold at a loss in the market. So when somebody goes and they buy an Xbox at their local retailer, we're subsidizing that purchase somewhere between $100 and $200 with the expectation that we will recoup that investment over time through accessory sales and the storefront. So they already are operating on a pretty risky business model, hoping that they can get the costs from the consoles back, let alone the games that they're developing. But they're completely embracing this financial suicide. Good luck to them. Hope that it goes well for them, and that they continue down this path, because it's just going to show that this is not a viable financial way of doing business. People are not interested in these DEI policies. These DEI policies are racist, they are disgusting, and they are evil. And this is all very well documented what these people do. But let me know what you guys make of what Xbox is doing and their embrace of these DEI policies. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.